Now to an issue that deserves far greater coverage, always did, and that's the plight of children forced into labour or trafficked for sex after they cross the southern border without their parents under the Biden administration. Whistleblowers have alleged that more than 300,000 migrant children, some estimate around 500,000, were missing or lost due to the Biden administration's border crisis. Border Czar Tom Homan spoke this week about tens of thousands of these children being rescued.
Children that weren't even being looked for under the Biden administration. President Trump saved over 62,000 children's lives. Some of these children were in sex trafficking, we found them. Some were in forced labor. Some were being mistreated. I can't even discuss some of the mistreatment we found out about.
A Department of Homeland Security report last year concluded that ICE had released hundreds of thousands of migrant children without notices to appear in court during the Biden presidency, and they have no way to track them after these children cross the border as unaccompanied minors. Kosha. Again, one issue that should be getting so much more media scrutiny if the media wasn't obsessed with narco boats and narco terrorists.
100%. This is one of many and probably the worst undertold cost of the illegal immigration crisis, which is what it is. And there's entire organizations that are taking children, using them as a passport, figuratively speaking, to enter the country, because you can latch onto that and then get more favorable case verdicts for asylum and other things like that, even if they're not their own children. And then, as you just cited, that the previous administration didn't care. There's anywhere from 300 to 500,000 children. We can only imagine the conditions they're in and what they've been made to do. And if they recovered 62,000, as Tom Homan said, we're 10 to 20% of the way there. And so hopefully this would be another great outcome of this presidency. If they keep up that pace, that they'll be pretty close to 80-90% of them recovering. Sadly, not all of them will be. And maybe an aside, but since they will never give President Trump the Peace Prize, maybe somebody should nominate Tom Homan for the Peace Prize for rescuing hundreds of thousands of children, hopefully by the end of this term.
Now, we discussed at the time the viral video of Tish Hyman, who is a black lesbian who encountered a male body in the women's locker room, a naked male body, and because she objected, she was the one banned from the gym. Well, she has been attending events with Democrat politicians and politely asking them why they back policies that put women in danger. Here she is with Rita Panahi.
Women, including myself, are being harassed by naked men in our locker rooms. In my case, the man in my locker room was a convicted domestic abuser who broke his wife's jaw so badly she needed surgery. Why issue a sensational warning about hypothetical genital checks when the real harassment of girls is happening right here under our current laws that allow men to self-ID into our spaces?
That has nothing to do, in my view, with someone who is trans and who identifies as a woman, saying that they can be using the locker room or bathroom which they identify with. That is their right. Now, if that person, if I could just finish.
Oh, it's so frustrating, Kosha. He just doesn't get it. It's all about self-ID with these clowns. He even wants male bodies competing in women's sport as long as those male bodies identify as female. He completely missed the point there because that individual did have a history of violence, terrible violence, but according to Rokana, what he was doing in that locker room was perfectly fine because he identifies as a woman and he wasn't beating anyone up at that time, so he was entitled to be there.
He deserves a medal. I think if he truly didn't get it, it would almost be better. I think the reality is he does get it. Yeah. And he's being a coward. He's being a complete coward because he is hiding behind the legal argument that there's no legal remedy for arresting somebody before they've committed an assault just because they entered the wrong bathroom. If a male enters a female bathroom, there's no legal recourse. So he's hiding behind that technicality rather than being bold and brave and saying what we all know is real, protecting women's spaces. He has 2 kids. One is a daughter. I think she's 8 or 10 years old. I'm sure he would have a big problem if boys are competing in sports with her. I don't know this, but I would posit that that's a safe bet to make. Or if she found herself in a public bathroom where an intact male was in there. So he's just paying lip service because that is what the Democrat position is.
I don't even know at this stage whether they genuinely believe these positions or it's just part and parcel of the ideology they've signed up to, so they've got to mouth these ridiculous notions without actually believing them. It really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's worse. I mean, it's
because
even worse
the people being impacted, like Tish, it doesn't matter if the politicians implementing these crazy policies actually believe in them or not, because there are victims of it every day.
And I hope she gets louder, because for a black lesbian Democrat voter from California to become a spokesperson for the size, that is something they probably didn't have on their bingo card.
Exactly. Kosha Gada, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.